Hello everyone.
Welcome to our podcast. Let me introduce ourselves first. My name is Marcel with I number 63251360.
And I'm Joko with student in number 63250
We are both students from Universitas Bina Sarana Informatika Pontianak.
We are currently in class 63.2D.310, majoring in accounting information system.
Today, we are going to talk about this really interesting topic, photography.
So let's go get started. Hello everyone. Welcome to our podcast. My name is Joko Bernardus and today we are going to talk about the internet. With me is my friend Marcel. How are you today, Marcel?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to discuss this interesting topic.
Great. Let's start with a simple question. What is the internet?
The internet is global network that connects millions of computers and devices around the world. It allows people to communicate, share for information, study, work, and entertain themselves.
That's a good explanation. Why do you think the internet is important in all daily lives?
I think the internet is very important because it makes communication faster and easier. We can send messages, make video calls, and even attend online classes. It also helps us find information within seconds.
As university students, we use the internet almost every day. How does it help students?
The internet helps students access online learning materials, watch educational videos, download ebooks, and communicate with lecturers. It also makes group assessment easier because students can collaborate online.
Besides education, what are some other benefits of the internet?
There are many benefits. For example, people can shop online, pay bills, order food, book transportation, and even work from home. This is also the internet to promote the product and reach more customers.
However, the internet also has some disadvantages. Can you mention a few?
Yes, one disadvantage is the spread of fake news or misinformation. Another problem is cybercrime, such as hacking, phishing, and online scams. Some people also spend too much time on social media, which can reduce productivity.
I completely agree. So how can we use the internet safely?
Result with strong password, avoid sharing personal information with stranger, use trust website, install antivirus software, and always think careful before clicking suspicious links.
Those are those are very useful tips. Do you think the internet will become even more important in the future?
Absolutely, technology continues to develop and many services depend on the internet with artificial intelligence. Smart homes and the internet of things our daily lives will become even more connected.
That's very interesting. Before we end this discussion, do you have any advice for our listeners?
Yes, use the internet wisely, take advantage of it for learning, improving your skills, and communicating positively. Don't forget to balance your online activity with real life interaction.
Thank you for sharing your ideas. I learned a lot from our discussion today.
You are welcome. I also enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to our podcast. We hope you learned something new about the internet. See you in your next episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Kok nggak excited?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. My name is Marcel.
And I'm Joko. Today we're diving into something that will touch literally every part of your digital life, which you realize it or not cryptography.
Oh, sound mysterious already. So, Joko, what actually is cryptography in plain English?
Great question. Uh, its core, cryptography is the science of hiding information so that only the people who are supposed to read it can. Think of it like a secret language between two friends.
Like passing notes in class with a math of code.
Actually, that's basically the ancient version of it. The Romans used something called the Caesar's Chipper. Julius Caesar himself supposedly used it to send military message.
Wait, how did do that work?
Super simple. You shift every letter in the alphabet by a fixed number. So if the shift is 3, I becomes D, B becomes E, and so on. It looks like nonsense unless you know the shift.
That seems easy to quite chalk.
It is by modern standards, but it introduced the 2K ideas we still use today. Encryption, which is turning readable information, called plain text into scrambled information, called hypertext, and description, which refers that process.
Okay, so fast forward a couple thousand years. What changed?
Computers basically, once you have machines that can do millions of calculations per second, you can use math that's way more complex than shifting letters. That's where we get modern cryptography, which splits into two main types, symmetric and asymmetric encryption.
But there's gets right. You need to somehow share the 1K safely.
Actually, the problem if I need to send you the key over the internet and someone enters it, they can unlock everything. That's where asymmetric encryption comes in.
Oh, this is a public key thing I kept hearing about.
Right. In asymmetric encryption, you actually have two keys, a public key and a private key. The public key can be shared with literally anyone. It can log data, but I can unlock it.
So, only the private can open it.
X3. So if I want to send you a secret message, I lock it with your public key and your private key, which you never share with anyone, can unlock it. No need to secretly exchange anything beforehand.
That's honestly kind of legend. Is the what's happening when I see the title padlock icon my browser?
Yes, that's HTTPS, and it uses a mix of both symmetric and asymmetric. Asymmetric encryption set up a secure handset. Then a symmetric key is generated for the actual fast data transfer.
Best of both worlds.
X3. Now there's a third big concept with mentioning hashing.
Is that the same as inscription?
Not quite. Hashing takes any input and turns it into a fixed length string of characters called a hash, but unlike encryption, it's one way. You can reverse a hash back into the original data.
So, what it's actually used for?
Storage password for one website don't storage your actual password. The storage is hash. When you log in, the hash what you type and compare it to the store as if someone steal the database. They just get a pile of hashes, not real password.
That racing. So how secure is all this stuff really? Or someone with a supercomputer just break it?
With current computers, no breaking modern encryption, leak RSA or AES will take longer than the edge of the universe. But there's a new player on the horizon, quantum computing.
Oh, I have heard people worry about this. So be secret.
Not scared, but our quantum computers called the theoretically breakdown of today's asymmetric encryption much faster. That's why researchers are already developing what's called post quantum cryptography. New algorithm designed to resist quantum attack.
So they can end most game between code makers and code breakers never really ends.
Never it's been going on since Kaiser, and it's keep going as long as people have scripts with protected.
Which is basically forever. Well, this was a great course, Joko. Any final talk for our listeners?
Just this every time you send a message. So online or even on like your phone, cryptography is quietly working in the background to keep you safe. It's invisible but it's everywhere.
Well then, thanks for breaking it down for us.
Anita,
And that's wrap for today episode of Code Talk. If you enjoyed this, subscribe, share with friends, and we'll catch you the next one.
stay curious and stay unscripted.
See you next time.
See you next time.